Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate your time. Today we are going to do a kind of a dual presentation here with myself, Eli Morse of Morse Technologies, and Jared Morse of Morse Technologies. Objective today is to discuss cloud computing, how it can benefit you as a customer, as a potential customer, as a company, an organization, and how it will over time present a return of investment and ultimately save you money. Our agenda here will cover the traditional method for most companies, having a in-house server solution, having a server that is not only in a LAN room or in a space, but also we're going to cover the types of alternatives and cloud offerings. And cloud as a generic term, we're going to sort of delve into it and explain to you guys what it means and what it can do to benefit you. How do you start getting into the concept of cloud? We'll sort of aid you guys as customers and potential customers on that, and what to look out for, what are the gotchas, what do you not want to look out for, and how to proceed and engage in conversation to discuss it.
Okay, so we want to start by reviewing what goes into the traditional server ownership throughout the server lifecycle. And first things first, you got to buy it. You have the upfront cost of hardware, operating system, and any software that's going onto it, client access licenses to actually run the software, and then, of course, the labor to install, whether it's in-house labor or outsourced. Once you have it running, you got to keep it running at an optimal performance level with system maintenance and monitoring, OS patching, software upgrades, and resource management. And you got to keep the bad guys out with security measures, firewall, hardware, local backups, offsite backups to protect your data in the event of a disaster. And the big one is the unforeseen costs. When you have a server in-house, there are multiple areas where it can fail, whether it's power, internet, any sort of hardware failure, hard drives, memory, that sort of thing, or a virus. And any one of these things can be crippling to a company. You have the actual cost of fixing it, labor and hardware and software of getting it back up and running, but then you have the downtime from the time it goes down until it is running again. And sometimes can be hard to quantify, but you know, as the hours and days go on with the downtime, the costs tend to go up pretty quickly. And then there's the cost of day-to-day issues that come up that, you know, little things here and there that may interrupt productivity, but add up over time as well. And then you get to start the whole thing in 3 to 5 years when you get a new server. So we have this thing called the cloud that can solve all of the world's problems, yet nobody actually knows what it is. And in general, what I like to, how I like to describe it is, so you have cloud computing technology uses a pool of hardware resources across multiple systems in multiple locations. And all of this is done to provide you a service over the internet. And the benefit of having these resources pooled together like this allows it to withstand hardware failure at different levels without affecting the service that the end user is experiencing. So how does that translate to you, the business? Because the infrastructure is already there, it's already built for you, your upfront costs are limited and eliminated in some cases. Maintenance is included, it's done by the provider, and as well as the security. All of the data traffic is encrypted, firewall backups are all built into your fixed monthly cost. And thus you have a predictable and stable environment with predictable performance and a consistent computing environment for the end user.
So what we're going to do is really cover three primary common cloud solutions that include, and these are the basic and sort of most common cloud solutions. So we have hosted server, also known as server as a service, hosted desktop, desktop as a service, and backup, which we'll refer to as backup as a service. That includes not only your traditional online backup, but also disaster recovery and prevention. Next slide. So hosted server, server as a service. Okay, so hosted server, conceptually, what it does replace the traditional on-site server in your LAN room server, sitting there, whether it's in your LAN room or taking up a space on site. Servers, number one, they are very loud, annoying, and tough to maintain, and they cost you money. So what hosted server does is it saves customers on the server overhead. So power is one example of that. I mean, plugging in a server and the amount of time it's up 24/7, 365 days a year. So it costs money on power, but it also, from an IT administration standpoint, there's the cost associated with supporting and maintaining it. Having a hosted server online will eliminate the risk of lost productivity and revenue that results from a server either having to be patched and rebooted, or a power outage, or any other kind of server crash that goes on. You might ask where the server is hosted. So when you talk about cloud, you think of Amazon, you think of Microsoft, you think of this internet world that the server's out there somewhere. So where is it hosted? In Morse Technologies' case, we support Amazon and the other vehicles to host servers, but the fact is you don't know where it is. In our case, Morse Technologies has a data center space that is in Andover, Massachusetts. It's highly secure and redundant. We have a redundant site through multiple locations in the United States, and as far as a back end to support and run your hosted server and desktop, we are very agnostic when it comes to the three top technologies that are out there that do virtualization and hosted server and desktop. We use Citrix, VMware, and Microsoft Hyper-V, and we on the back end we'll use any of those technologies to support and run your server. As far as accessing it, think about it this way. I mean, the bottom line is most people, most companies, most employees have the ability to access their server remotely from home. It's the same concept. So the vehicles we use and we support and provide are the same exact vehicles you use today trying to work from home or on the road. It's VPN, it's RDP, which is a Windows terminal server, it's Citrix, VMware, all of the above. I mean, it's a solution that we provide based on what you're looking to accomplish. So we are very customizable when it comes to how you access your server. Hosted desktop, desktop as a service. This concept replaces the traditional concept of a desktop sitting on your desk or underneath. The life cycle of it, anywhere from 3 to 5 years, but the bottom line is with a hosted desktop, you have many means to access your desktop. It could be from a netbook, from a thin client, from a laptop, from a PC, and the concept of that desktop being thin, it extends the desktop life cycle. So as a company, instead of replacing a desktop every 3 years to 5 years, you might gain 7 years or more out of the same machine. The nice thing about a hosted desktop environment, desktop as a service, you have the same desktop, same preferences, same icons, same everything from anywhere. So you could be on your PC in the office, you could be on your netbook in the airport, you could be on vacation sitting in Starbucks. And no matter where you are, you're going to have that same exact desktop, all the same preferences. Conceptually, it's the same exact thing as having Outlook, for example. All your preferences in Outlook, whether you're in the office, home, remotely, anywhere, you basically have the same sent items, deleted items, inbox. That concept we bring to the desktop environment. If you don't have an internet connection, that's a question that people ask, and with the solutions we offer, you can take your desktop on the road with you. So conceptually, work offline on a plane, no internet connection. All you need is a thumb drive. All you need is a flash drive. It's on there. It's essentially taken offline to a cached mode and put on a disk. Throw it in your pocket, take it with you. Throw it on your iPhone, take it with you. Plug it into your computer, and up comes your desktop. So it's very, very flexible, and with the solutions that we have and that we have today, whether it's Citrix RDP, VMware, all solutions and all these companies that we support and install and configure and maintain, they all have the same concept of having an offline Outlook. So back in the day, let's take the traditional traveling salesperson, laptop, hopping on a plane to go, do work, go do a presentation out wherever, or do a trade show. The fact is that person or executive, it doesn't matter if it's a salesperson, executive, whatever, but that person that's traveling has the need to work offline and respond to emails. Send, generate, read, whatever. So the fact is, and conceptually, you can work in Outlook in an offline cached mode, and you can type all your emails, and they accumulate in your outbox. And they'll sit there until you have an internet connection. Once you plug in, they all get sent. It's the same exact concept, but in this case, it's your desktop. It's your entire desktop and all the preferences that go along with it.
I had a question pop up here from one of the listeners, and I do want to reiterate that if you do have any questions during this presentation, just type it into the chat box there, and we'll answer as we go. And also at the end, we can go over any questions. But one of the users says, "What happens with my information when I'm working offline and then need to access it at a later time when I gain access to the internet?"
So that's a very, very good question, and I kind of touched upon that. Basically, the best way I can explain it is it's just like the days where you're working with Outlook and you want to offline draft emails and respond. I mean, they build up and they accumulate in your outbox. It's the same concept. When you plug back in, the way Exchange works with Outlook is when you plug back in, there's an internet connection. All of those emails will transmit. So any changes to your desktop environment offline, when you plug back in, you get an internet connection, they're all going to synchronize with your primary desktop. So your desktop literally will follow you anywhere. No matter what type of connection, it follows you. And if if you change something or customize something or do anything offline and disconnected, when you plug back in, it synchronizes. So backup and disaster recovery and disaster prevention is a huge concept when it comes to cloud. Bottom line is you do not want to follow the traditional, and this is not a common thing, like on having your backups go to tape on-site, in-house. That is an old concept. There's so many solutions now online, and there's so much capability by leveraging online backups that it's silly to not entertain that. And the cost, if you look at the cost based on an online subscription, monthly backups, over time, yeah, it's actually cheaper. And you know what? It provides you with a much more point of recovery in the event of a problem. Tape drives are expensive. Tapes are expensive. Online appliances, on-site appliances are costly. And if anything, having an on-site backup nowadays, it's got to be on an appliance with disks. And that combined with an online backup solution is what every company should be doing. Business continuity, as far as the technologies now and what we offer, having a snapshot of your server. Gone are the days where servers crash and you have to recover from tape backup and build the server, install Windows, install the patches, get it on the network, recover your data. Those days are gone. Now we have the technology and we have the capability and the expertise to snapshot your servers. So if you don't have a virtual environment, that's fine. We can snapshot that environment, your server, your exact configuration to an appliance, whether it's on-site or online, or preferably both. The capability is to snapshot your server from a previous night. So in the event your server crashes, okay, that's fine, no problem. We'll launch your server virtually from the cloud, from the appliance, from anywhere. And there's literally minimal downtime, if any. So business continuity for any company, whether it's a 5-person company or a 500 person company, the fact is business continuity is huge. It's important, and it's not that expensive. And we can accomplish it through many different methods. It's something that you should definitely consider and talk about with your IT person that's on site. Co-location. As far as co-location, okay, co-location is a very important concept to understand, and it's slightly different from your cloud concept. Co-location is literally physically placing your servers in a different space that has more redundant power, uptime, battery backup, internet connectivity, so that your servers are always accessible. Whereas traditionally in your LAN room, there's so many different ways that your server can go down. So co-location really accomplishes guaranteed uptime. Some examples of the first one here says a mass company affected by flooding moves to hosted environment. This is a very good example of co-location. So here's the scenario. Andover, Mass, headquarters, company that trades chips. Chips, when I say chips, I mean like computer chips in large millions of quantities from Asia. So they trade chips in such large quantity that if they were to be down and they're a 24/7 operation, when we're sleeping, they're up over there overseas, Amsterdam, Hong Kong, Singapore. They go down for 1 hour. That's a lot of people not doing work and not trading millions of chips. So this happened 2 or 3 years ago, flooding on the Shawshene River in Andover. It flooded the basement of this building, so their servers, the power went out. So they were down for 3 days, lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because of this. So their solution was, all right, let's talk to Morse Technologies and leverage the fact that we have data center space, and we physically relocated their servers from their basement in Andover, Mass, in this building that's very close to floodplain level of the Shawshene River, moved their servers to our data center space, and they've been there for 2 years now, and I don't think their servers, Jared, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think their servers have gone down literally once in 2 years with all the crazy snowstorms we had in October, and some of the weather we've had. Oh, they've been up 100% of the time. Second bullet item: New Hampshire company with multiple locations needs central database access and room to go. So we were presented a couple years back with a company that at the time had 5 or 6 branch locations in New England. Each site 5 people or less. Their headquarters is based in Nashua, New Hampshire, and they came to us and said, look, we don't have a server, we don't have this, that. We email files back and forth, and half the people have Windows Home Edition, and half the people have XP Pro, and half the people have Vista, and half the people have Windows 7. So it was a chaotic mess of desktops, and we said, you know what, don't worry about that. That's good. That's fine. We'll put our agent on your machines, and we'll support and maintain your machines. As far as company access and growth, not a problem. In this case, we said we'll host your servers, and we ended up building them virtually on our equipment in Andover, Mass. 4 servers. One was Exchange, one was Windows for file and print, one was SQL Server, and one was Citrix. And we deployed Citrix clients throughout, and they all access their stuff from our data center. So now there are 15 locations, and they're adding 3 per year throughout the United States. And the solution we built is scalable, and it's secure, it's backed up, it's redundant. They've been happy for 2 years. Third bullet item: Mass company wants to leverage the cloud for DR planning by replicating service to colo facility. So a company that has invested in their own equipment, invested in their own redundancy and their own internet backup, is looking for disaster recovery planning. So in the event their on-premise facility has some kind of disaster, flood, fire, and virus, it could be anything. Fact is, they're down, people can't work. All right, that's fine. We can replicate their stuff to our data center space and our cloud concept, and they can operate from that space. Doesn't matter when this happens or how or why. Fact is, flip a switch, they can operate. Just redirect their clients to the cloud space, and they continue to be productive as a company.
So as a business with all of these opportunities out there in the cloud, where do you start? It's a lot of information to digest, and can seem overwhelming switching from an in-house environment to a hosted or cloud environment. First thing to look at is your current situation. Do a cloud assessment, whether it's someone internally, an IT person, or an outside firm. Have them see if you are cloud ready. Do you have a server that is old and you're thinking about replacing it, but you're not sure? Maybe it would be better to move it into the cloud as opposed to spending all that money and starting that life cycle of a server process again. Do you have any applications that might be better off in the cloud? Check with vendors, software vendors, and see if they have anyone else running it in the cloud, or if they offer it in the cloud. If people need better access or performance is taking a hit because it's not, your internal server is not able to handle the growth, it might be better off being hosted in the cloud where you can expand with no limits. And then employee access. Is more flexibility needed? Are people, do you have a lot of people on the road? Are, you know, area like this where you have a lot of storms in the winter and people need to work from home, would that add value to your business, providing that flexibility? And then as far as cloud entry points, this is kind of to list out some of the more common and the easier ways to start taking advantage of the cloud. And of course, the easiest and probably most common at this point is through backups. And not to reiterate what Eli already went through, but you know, getting an online backup so your data is off-site. And then as far as the third one there, the disaster recovery, the scenario where you are having an alternative. If you do actually lose your site or a server at your site, you can still run in the cloud. And that type of thing doesn't really take too much investment or change of the way you're actually doing things from a day-to-day standpoint. And the other one there, email, is a lot of people either have this in-house through an Exchange server or have a third-party provider that is hosting it, where you're popping and you have a remote access, but it's probably, you know, maybe through a website where you don't have the same environment. You know, if you move something like that to the cloud, you can have that same familiar Outlook environment no matter where you're connected. And even, like Eli explained before, with the offline desktop, even when you don't have an internet connection. So most of these providers can offer you a trial where you can do a test drive of a hosted desktop. So you can log into this hosted desktop through the web and access a server and actually, you know, see what the environment would be like. And it can even be customized to get as close to your current environment as possible. And you know, using that desktop to access a hosted server, and so you can really get a feel for how the speed would be, what it would be like. You know, try it out from home at the office, and get a feel of whether this would be a benefit for your business. Some things to watch out for. So there are a lot of companies offering cloud services, and you want to make sure that they are readily providing you the information as to where your data is residing. If they don't have any information or they're not willing to tell you, I probably would not trust them. What kind of facility is it in? How many facilities? Is there security in place at this facility? Is your data backed up? How many levels of backup are there? What kinds of failure prevention are in place? All of these are important. You want to make sure that your data, that these people you're trusting your data with are solid. And I actually have another question here. Someone's asking, so what happens to your data? What if the provider goes out of business? Where does my data go? That's a good question. As far as from our offering, so we have the ability to sync data from the cloud back to any local environment. So let's say you wanted to keep a copy of your data at your house. Just you know, you don't want to have that risk out there that you know, that some business is going to go out and go under in a couple of years. So you can sync daily, even real time, back to an external hard drive at your house, so everything is there. So you can have it, tuck it away in the closet, and keep it for a rainy day. The other thing to look at is your bandwidth. Obviously, if you're moving to the cloud, you're accessing everything over the internet. So it's going to be a much heavier load on your internet line, and you want to make sure you have the bandwidth to accommodate it. Luckily these days the pricing has come down quite a bit, so it's not usually too much money to add another line, and you know, that adds to the predictable monthly cost, you know, a fixed cost to ensure that you have a consistent computing environment. Another thing to look at is a redundant internet connection. You are putting more stake into your internet connection than if if you do have it in-house. So what we provide for clients doing this is the ability to fail over between multiple internet connections, so that you have a device that if one line goes down, it automatically, without interruption, syncs over to a second line. So you have that built-in level of security there, that you're not going to lose a connection. And even if you do, you are still able to access it from another location. You can get it from home or anywhere else, another office, and the data is still available, at least. If in the scenario that you have everything in-house, you're not going to be able to access stuff outside of the office anyways if your internet goes down. So I think this actually does provide you a little bit more flexibility. So just to go over some of the benefits we've talked about, number one, it reduces your cost of ownership. You don't have any of that upfront cost. You don't have to maintain it. It's all done for you in a fixed monthly fee. The flexibility, it provides you with access anywhere, and not just remote access, like you can get your email, or you can connect a VPN and access a file here or there. It can provide you with that same desktop environment that you're used to in the office. People don't like change. They like consistency. So if you're on the road, you're at home, you're on vacation, whatever, you can get that familiar desktop environment no matter what. Predictability, it's all there. It's all built for you to withstand any sort of failure. That's the nature of the cloud, is to be able to withstand multiple points of failure and keep the same high performance level with the unpredictability of individual pieces of hardware. Expandability, if you're growing and add resources as you go, or add employees, add offices, you don't have to buy large chunks of hardware and servers to accommodate this growth. You can build servers on the fly, you can add disk space, you can add memory to keep performance, you can reduce memory, you can do whatever you want, you can add users. It's completely scalable and expandable without the upfront cost and without the time. Things can be done on the fly, and you can have stuff ready within minutes. And lastly, and this is one of the biggest questions we get, is security. Having your data taken away from you and moved into the cloud, people often are afraid that they lose control of it. And quite frankly, what I tell people is that in most cases, it's more secure than it was in your own office. All traffic's encrypted. The data is residing in a top-tier security, high security facility with multiple levels of backup that you're probably not getting locally in your office. It does go back. You do always want to do the background check on the company and make sure that they have transparency as to what their infrastructure entails. But your data is given a much higher level of protection.
All right, guys. So I know there's a few questions we're going to address here, but I do want to say this: that we're going to send a link to the link you're seeing right now. Actually, we're going to send that to everybody that joined us today. And we are offering a free cloud assessment, which is basically going to be probably myself, Jared, and or with an engineer on site, do an assessment, ask you questions, understand what you have today and how some of these offerings. And we touched on 2 or 3 specific items today, but there's a whole bunch of other cloud-based or IT-based or managed-based services that we can offer. So we'll be happy to come down, give you an assessment, needs analysis, review, the offerings and how we can help you guys. And also, as far as a demo, anyone that is interested in a demo of a hosted desktop, and conceptually, it's a webinar. We'd have Ken Curtis, one of our top engineers, do the demo for you, and we'll demo not only we'll demo for you four different desktop environments. One is Windows Terminal Server, the RDP. One is Citrix. One is VMware. One is what's the other one? One is let's see, VMware, Citrix, RDP. That's it, right? Yeah, 3. So we'll do 3, or Hyper-V. We'll show you as well. So 3 or 4 different scenarios: hosted server and desktop. But we want you to. We encourage you. We encourage you to click on the link or call us. You have our information. We're going to send it to you through email as well. So let's address questions now. Tom Matson, how you doing? GHA. You're on there. John Cadigan, I think, had one, and let's see what we got going. So questions. All right. So John had a question about he has let's read this. He has a company that has 5 people, and they have a Windows 2003 server running Lotus Notes 4.6. Wow, that's an old version. Okay, so the question is, can we host that for them, and how does that work? All right, so let's see. That's a good question, good example. And in that case, looks like I'm just reading the notes here. So it looks like they're looking to shut down an office to have people work remotely. So that's a great concept. That, all right, so you're spending a couple $1,000s a month on rent, and you want to shut down your office and have your employees work mobilely from home, from wherever. So we take that server and we'll do a physical to virtual migration and put that on our infrastructure, and then set up our remote desktop so you guys can access it. And the cost to you would be, a few $100s a month, and your server goes away. There's no hardware replacements, and your office space is freed up. There you go. You just saved about $1,500 a month. No brainer. Next question. Any other questions, Jared?
I don't see any up there.
I'm going to double check real quick, guys, because I think there was another one. Hold on one sec. Looks like there's no other questions. I want to wrap this up, guys. So again, I'll remind you, call us. You got our number, morsetechnologies.com. Just call us, and we'll talk to you over the phone and figure out what makes sense for you guys. And I do appreciate the time today listening. And again, any questions that come up that you think of after the fact, shoot us an email, call us. The link's going to be emailed to you. And I think we'll call it a wrap, guys. Thanks. Appreciate your time.